There comes a moment in every person's life when they look at their reflection and realize something powerful. Happiness is not missing, it's being buried. Not because life didn't give you opportunities, not because you weren't deserving, but because you have been tolerating things that your soul was never supposed to carry. We don't lose happiness all at once. We lose it quietly, slowly, silently, by tolerating behavior that hurts us, by accepting situations that drain us, and by allowing people into our lives who don't value our presence. And we tell ourselves stories. It's okay. I can handle it. It's not that bad. I don't want to disappoint anyone. But here's the truth. Every time you tolerate something that goes against your peace, your joy, your values, or your worth, a small piece of you dies, and one day you wake up and you don't recognize yourself anymore. Happiness is not something you chase. It's something you protect. And the only way to protect it is by refusing to tolerate what destroys it. You must stop tolerating disrespect from others, and especially from yourself. Stop tolerating people who don't apologize, don't appreciate, and don't reciprocate. Stop tolerating environments that suffocate your growth. Stop tolerating the voice in your own head that tells you you're too much, too little, not enough, or not ready. You will never be fully happy until you stop tolerating being treated like an option, being spoken to like your feelings don't matter, and being used for your kindness. You deserve more than that. You were created for more than that. And deep down, your heart knows it. Happiness will return the moment you decide you are worthy of better. The moment you decide your peace is non-negotiable. The moment you stop shrinking yourself to fit into places that were never designed for your light. Your life won't change when you try harder. Your life will change when you stop tolerating the things that keep you small. That's the moment you rise. That's the moment everything shifts. And that's the moment true happiness finally finds its way home to you. Disrespect does not always show up loudly. It doesn't always come with shouting, arguing, or open conflict. Sometimes disrespect enters your life silently, softly, slipping in disguised as it's okay. I don't want to start a problem, or maybe I'm overacting. And the moment you tolerate it, even once, it begins to grow roots. Many people believe that disrespect only comes from others, but the deepest, most damaging form of disrespect is the kind you allow toward yourself. When you ignore what your heart feels, when you silence your needs, when you shrink your voice just to keep peace with someone who doesn't care to protect yours, this is self-disrespect. And the truth is, no one can value you more than you value yourself. Disrespect often starts with small choices, the kind you convince yourself are too minor to matter. Maybe someone talks over you and you let it slide. Maybe someone ignores your efforts and you tell yourself it's fine. Maybe someone repeatedly tests your boundaries, and because you fear losing them, you pretend it doesn't hurt. But every time you accept what breaks you, you teach your soul to live with fractures. You begin to normalize the pain. The reason most people stay stuck in unhappy lives isn't because they lack strength or hope. It's because they've spent years tolerating situations they should have walked away from long ago. Disrespect becomes familiar, and familiar becomes comfortable, even when it is destroying you. But growth requires honesty, and honesty demands that you look at the places in your life where you have allowed others to cross lines that should have been protected. When you stop tolerating disrespect, your life changes in ways you never imagined. You begin reclaiming your voice, your power, your dignity. You begin understanding that saying no is not rude, setting boundaries is not selfish, and expecting kindness is not asking too much. Disrespect rarely stops on its own. It stops when you refuse to receive it. The most dangerous form of disrespect is not what others do. It's what you allow, what you excuse, and what you believe you deserve. If you tell yourself you are hard to love, you will tolerate poor treatment. If you tell yourself your needs are unimportant, you will sacrifice your joy. If you tell yourself you don't matter, you will accept behavior that hurts you. Stopping disrespect begins with one decision: is my peace is not negotiable. This simple truth becomes the foundation of your transformation. When you honor yourself, people who truly value you will rise with you, and those who only benefited from your silence will fall away. Losing people is not the tragedy. Losing yourself while trying to keep them, that is the real tragedy. When you stop tolerating disrespect, your world aligns with your worth. You attract relationships built on mutual respect, not convenience. You walk with a stronger posture, a clearer voice, and a deeper sense of self-respect. You begin to understand that you teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate, by what you accept, and by how strongly you stand for yourself. And the beautiful part is this: your happiness doesn't just return, it expands. Your confidence grows, your spirit breathes freely again. Your heart learns that love should feel safe, not heavy, and relationships should lift you, not break you. Because the moment you stop tolerating disrespect, you stop betraying yourself. And that is the moment true happiness finally begins. There comes a point in every person's life when they must decide whether their peace is worth more than their desire to be liked, accepted, or understood. Too often people carry emotional exhaustion as if it is their responsibility, not realizing that much of their stress comes from tolerating individuals who slowly drain their energy, their confidence, and their spirit. Protecting your emotional space is not an act of selfishness. It is an act of survival. We all know someone who takes more than they give, someone who demands your time, your patience, your understanding, but offers none of it in return. Someone who expects you to be available when they need support, but disappears the moment you need them. Someone who brings their chaos into your life and then blames you for the mess it creates. And because your heart is kind, you convince yourself it is your duty to stay, to help, to carry their weight on your shoulders. But the truth is, no relationship, family, friend, or partner should cost you your peace. Energy drainers come in many forms. Some are loud, constantly criticizing, complaining, or judging. Others are quiet, offering emotional coldness, silence, or withdrawal that leaves you feeling unworthy. Some manipulate through guilt, making you believe that choosing yourself is an offense against them. Others pretend to care while slowly feeding off your kindness. But all of them have one thing in common: they take from you without giving anything that nourishes your soul. You cannot live a happy life while constantly giving your energy to people who refuse to grow, refuse to heal, or refuse to respect your emotional boundaries. You cannot pour strength into people who only want your attention, but not your advice, your presence, but not your perspective, your help, but not your honesty. There is a difference between supporting someone and sacrificing yourself for them. And too often we blur that line. When your energy is drained, your mind becomes heavy, your decisions become confused, and your joy becomes dim. You start questioning yourself, doubting your worth, wondering if you are the problem, when in reality, the problem is giving unlimited access to people who were only meant to have limited influence in your life. Not everyone deserves front row seats to your journey, especially those who clap only for themselves.
Protecting your emotional space begins with clarity. Ask yourself, who makes me feel lighter? Who makes me feel heavier? Who respects my boundaries? Who breaks them repeatedly? Who supports my growth? Who feels threatened by it? The answers will reveal the relationships you need to nourish and the ones you need to distance yourself from. Setting boundaries does not mean building walls. It means choosing doors. It means deciding who gets to enter your world and who no longer has the privilege of walking through your space. Boundaries protect your time, your heart, your mind, and your emotional stamina. Every time you say no to something that drains you, you say a yes to something that strengthens you. And remember, protecting your energy is not just about distancing yourself from toxic people. It is also about surrounding yourself with people who uplift you. People who celebrate your success, comfort your struggles, and encourage your growth. People who bring clarity instead of confusion, calm instead of chaos, and love instead of exhaustion. These are the people who should remain close, because these are the relationships that build your soul rather than break it. When you stop tolerating people who drain your energy, everything in your life rises. Your joy, your clarity, your confidence, your peace. You begin to breathe easier, sleep deeper, smile more freely, and walk with purpose. You become someone who chooses themselves without guilt, someone who protects their peace without apology, and someone who understands that emotional boundaries are not barriers. They are blessings. There are moments in life when you must pause and look around you, not just with your eyes, but with your awareness, your intuition, your inner truth. Because sometimes the reason you feel stuck, unfulfilled, or uninspired is not because you lack talent or ambition, but because you are living, working, or surviving in environments that keep you small. Environments that discourage your growth, limit your imagination, and subtly convince you that your dreams are unreasonable or impossible. An environment is not just a place. It's energy. It's the tone of conversations, the beliefs shared between people, the standards that are accepted, and the mindset that dominates the space. You cannot grow tall in a room built for smallness. You cannot think big when you are surrounded by people who've never allowed themselves to dream. And you cannot become the best version of yourself while staying in places where your light is viewed as a threat rather than a gift. Many people tolerate environments that shrink them because stepping out feels frightening. Comfort zones offer emotional safety, even when they limit your potential. You tell yourself, at least I know this place, even when this place drains your passion, mocks your goals, or slowly kills your confidence. You convince yourself that staying is easier than starting over, not realizing that staying is silently destroying your spirit. Every environment you remain in, by choice or by fear, shapes your identity. If you tolerate a workplace that disrespects your worth, you begin doubting your abilities. If
you stay in relationships where your needs are ignored, you start believing you are undeserving. If you surround yourself with people who laugh at your dreams, you stop taking your own dreams seriously. Environments do not just influence you. They mold you, sculpt you, rewrite you. The most dangerous environments are the ones that tell you to settle, the ones that normalize mediocrity, the ones that celebrate your silence but fear your empowerment. These environments want you comfortable predictable, manageable. They want you to blend in, not stand out. Because the moment you stand tall, the moment you choose growth, the moment you honor your potential, you disrupt the comfort of those who benefit from your smallness. Growth requires space. Space to think, space to create, space to fail, a space to rise again. And sometimes that space does not exist where you are. Sometimes you must build it yourself. Sometimes you must walk away from the places that no longer align with who you are becoming. Leaving is not betrayal, it's transformation. And transformation demands boldness. Ask yourself, does this environment feed my spirit or drain it? Does it challenge me or confine me? Does it support my goals or stunt them? Does it make me feel alive or exhausted? The answers will show you whether you are growing or merely surviving. Survival is not enough. You were never created just to exist. You were created to evolve. When you stop tolerating environments that keep you small, you reclaim your ambition. You begin to dream without asking for permission. You speak without fear of judgment. You rise without apologizing for your elevation. You begin attracting new people, new opportunities, and new possibilities that match the version of you who refuses to shrink. And something incredible happens. You start seeing the world differently. You realize how much potential you were suppressing. You realize how much joy you had postponed. You realize how much brilliance you had silenced in order to fit into spaces that were never meant for the fullness of your spirit. Growth is not comfortable. It pulls you, stretches you, challenges you, and sometimes isolates you. But it also liberates you. It gives you the freedom to expand, to evolve, to become everything you once feared to imagine. Because the moment you stop tolerating environments that keep you small, you step into a world where your greatness finally has room to breathe. There comes a moment in every person's journey when they must face the truth that the greatest barrier to their growth is not other people, not circumstances, not the environment they came from, but the excuses they continue to tell themselves. Excuses may feel safe, they may feel protective, they may feel like comfort, but they are cages, silent, invisible, and extremely dangerous. Because excuses do not just slow you down, they can convince you that staying where you are is acceptable even when your spirit is screaming for more. Excuses are subtle. They often sound reasonable, logical, even justified. I'm too tired. I don't have time. It's too late for me. Well, I'm not ready yet. What if I fail? These are not statements of truth. They are statements of fear. Fear dressed up as rational thinking. And the moment you accept them, the moment you repeat them, you give them power over your life. The reality is this: you cannot build a strong life on the foundation of weak stories. Every time you choose an excuse over action, you make your future smaller. Every time you lean on excuses instead of discipline, you shrink your potential. Every time you let fear explain your decisions, you trade progress for temporary comfort. People often blame the world for their stagnation, not realizing that the real limitation comes from within. When you finally stop tolerating your excuses, when you take full responsibility for your actions, your choices, and your progress, everything changes. Responsibility is not punishment, it is empowerment. It is the moment you recognize that you are not waiting for luck, not waiting for someone to save you, not waiting for the perfect moment. You are choosing to lead your own life. And leadership begins with honesty. Honesty about how you use your time. Honesty about the habits you keep. Honesty about why you avoid the things you know you should do. Honesty about the dreams you fear to pursue. The truth may sting, but it also sets you free. Because once you see how your excuses have held you hostage, you will realize how much power you truly have to change your life. It is not your past that defines your trajectory. It is the decisions you make right now. Excuses thrive in low standards. They thrive when you settle, when you accept less from yourself, when you convince yourself that improvement can wait. But growth requires consistency, and consistency requires the discipline to do things even when you don't feel like doing them. Motivation is temporary, but discipline is transformational. Excuses fade when discipline rises. To stop tolerating excuses, you must replace them with commitments. Commitments to show up. Commitments to try even when it feels uncomfortable. Commitments to learn, to improve, to evolve. Every major achievement begins with one simple declaration: I will no longer betray myself with excuses. Taking responsibility does not mean you will never struggle. It means you will not allow struggle to become your identity. It means you will push beyond the voice that tells you to quit. It means you stop romanticizing procrastination and start embracing action. And here is the truth many avoid: when you stop tolerating your excuses, you also stop tolerating waste potential. You stop wasting your gifts. Wasting your time. You stop wasting your opportunities. You begin living with intention instead of drifting on autopilot. The moment you take ownership of your life, excuses lose their power. They cannot survive in a mind that is committed to growth. They cannot influence a person who refuses to settle. They cannot distract someone who is focused on becoming better every day. Because the truth is simple: your life will not change until you change. Your dreams will not come alive until you stop giving yourself reasons to delay them. Your future will not elevate until you rise above your excuses. When you stop tolerating your own excuses, you step into a new level of strength, clarity, and freedom. And from that moment on, nothing can stop you except the limits you choose to accept. One of the greatest illusions that holds people back from living the life they are meant to live is the belief that there will be a perfect moment, a perfect opportunity, a perfect level of confidence, or a perfect version of themselves before they begin. They continue waiting and waiting and waiting for clarity, waiting for courage, waiting for stability, waiting for motivation, waiting for everything to line up exactly as they imagine it should. But the truth is simple and sometimes harsh. The right time will never arrive. Life does not pause. Circumstances do not freeze, and opportunities do not wait. The longer you delay, the further your dreams drift. Waiting feels safe. It gives you the illusion of control, the comfort of preparation, the ease postponing risk. You tell yourself you are being smart, being careful, being patient. But beneath those explanations is fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of discomfort, fear of stepping into a version of yourself that demands courage instead of excuses. And fear, when disguised as patience, becomes one of the most destructive forms of self-sabotage. People often say, I'll start when I'm ready, not realizing that readiness is something you gain through action, not before it. Confidence is not built in advance. It is built through experiences, through learning, through trying, through failing, through getting up again. Many of the world's greatest leaders, creators, and visionaries did not begin because they felt qualified. They began as they refused to stay where they were. They took imperfect steps, made imperfect attempts, and grew because they moved. The idea that you need to have everything figured out before you take your first step is a myth. Life is not designed that way. Progress happens through movement. Wisdom comes from experience. Growth comes from stretching yourself. Nothing great is built in comfort, and nothing transformational starts with certainty. If you wait for the right moment, you will miss the millions of moments that could have helped you become extraordinary. You must stop tolerating delays that come from fear, procrastination, or self-doubt. You must stop allowing your future to depend on conditions that may never align. The people who succeed are not the ones who had perfect timing. They are the ones who created momentum, who decided that starting now, at this moment, with whatever they had was enough. They chose progress over perfection, courage over hesitation, and discipline over delay. Starting before you feel ready is not recklessness. It is bravery. It is trusting that your purpose matters more than your fear. It is believing that your journey deserves movement, even if your steps are small, shaky, or uncertain. When you begin, the universe responds. Opportunities appear. People show up. Strength grows. Once felt impossible becomes manageable. What once felt overwhelming becomes familiar. What once felt unreachable begins to move closer. You learn things you could never learn from planning alone. You discover resilience you didn't know you had. You meet parts of yourself that were waiting to be activated. You unlock confidence, clarity, and purpose that only action can reveal. The path becomes clear while you walk it, not while you wait for it. Remember this powerful truth. If you wait until you feel ready, you will spend your entire life waiting. Start the project, start the habit, start the healing. Start the journey. Start choosing yourself. Start now. Start small. Start imperfectly, but start. Every dream you have is waiting on one thing, your willingness to move. Your future self is begging you not to waste another day believing that the timing has to be perfect, because the timing becomes perfect when you decide to take action. When you stop tolerating the lie of not yet, you take control of your destiny. You begin shaping your life instead of reacting to it. You step into your purpose, your power, and your potential. And you finally understand that the moment you start, even unprepared, is the moment everything begins to change. As you reach the end of this message, remember this one unshackable truth: your life will not transform because you hope for change or wait for change or dream about change. Your life will transform the moment you stop tolerating the things that keep you small, silent, drained, and disconnected from your true power. You were not created to shrink yourself for the comfort of others. You were not created to survive on the edge of your own potential. You were not created to carry the weight of people who refuse to grow. You were not created to surrender your joy for the sake of being accepted. You are here to rise. You are here to evolve. You are here to honor the greatness within you. Every step of your journey begins with one powerful decision: I deserve better, and I will no longer tolerate anything that diminishes my spirit. That is not arrogance. It is self-respect. That is not selfishness. It is self-preservation. That is not separation. It is elevation. The world around you will shift the moment your standards rise. Toxic relationships will fall away. Energy draining environments will lose their power. Excuses will fade into discipline. Fear will give way to courage, and opportunities, clarity, and confidence will rush toward you the moment you step into your worth. You are stronger than the past that tried to break you. You are braver than the fear that tried to silence you. You are more capable than the doubts that once controlled you. But you must choose yourself again and again, day after day, moment by moment. Do not hesitate. Do not apologize for wanting more. This is your time to expand, to grow, to rise, to become. This is your time to build a life that honors your potential and protects your peace. This is your time to step into the power that has always been within you. Stop tolerating what hurts you. Start choosing what heals you. Your best life is not ahead of you by accident. It is ahead of you by choice. And today, you choose to begin